Hey there, this is Fred Basimo. I'm the host and producer of the Make Money and Have Fun show, where I'm sitting down every single week interviewing authors, speakers, coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, investors, millionaires, billionaires, you name it. We're going live every single week, and you don't want to miss an episode. And one of the ways that I'm able to put this show on is through what I use to produce this show, which is Anchor.fm. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest and fastest way to make a podcast out there. Let me explain. First of all, Anchor is absolutely free. They don't charge you a dime for anything on Anchor. So it's absolutely free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you. Check this out. This is so cool. It's one of my favorite things about Anchor. Anchor distributes your podcast to over half a dozen different places where podcasts can be listened to. So you might be listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever your podcast platform of choice is, Anchor can most likely distribute it there for you. And you can also make money from your podcast on Anchor with no minimum listenership. It's everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So if you haven't already, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Once again, that's anchor.fm, or download the app right on your phone. It's absolutely free, like we mentioned before. And if you want to start podcasting, if you have something to say, if you want to get started with your podcast, if you already have a podcast, this is the best and easiest and fastest option that I would recommend to anybody. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Make Money and Have Fun show. I am super excited and super pumped up about this month. I was actually just chatting with my guest backstage, and her and I were talking about the difference between doing a daily show and a weekly show. So for those of you that don't know, who have been living under a rock for the past month, I am going live every single day this month interviewing speakers, coaches, consultants, and this month in particular, I'm talking to authors of all kinds of books. Yesterday, we talked to someone who wrote a fantasy, basically a mythology book. Today, we're talking to somebody who's in 30 different books. So let's get into it.
My motto in life is make money and have fun. I'm on a mission to show everyone how to make money, yeah, and have fun. I'm all about making money and having fun.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, please help me welcome to the virtual stage, Miss Vickie Helm. What's up, Vickie?
Good morning, Fred. I'm so excited to be here. I really love your show, and it's great to be a guest on. Thanks for having me.
This is too much fun, right?
Already? It's already been too much fun.
I know. We're not even 2 minutes into this thing, and we're already having a blast. You must be on the Make Money and Have Fun show.
That's exactly where I am, and you should be too.
I love it. Everybody should be tuning in with us because we are having the most fun, and we're making some money in the meantime as well. Vickie, what's going on? Tell us what's happening in your world.
Oh my gosh. We have launched 4 different new projects. We have the Freedom Seekers Journal. We have Influence and Authority. We have just launched the She-Myth book, which went #1 in Australia. It's on its way up here. It's in Canada. It's in the UK. And we have, other programs going on, and we're just about ready to pop out our new app, which is coming out. And I also have a new book in the works, as you know, because that's just how I am. That's what we do.
Vickie, are you trying to outwork me or something? What's going on here?
Well, I try to outwork everyone except probably Will Smith.
Okay. Yeah, Will Smith works quite a lot. I'm always afraid of that Elon Musk guy. Mm-hmm. He's the one that scares me. It's either him or Zuckerberg that are going to take over the world. I don't know which yet, but
we're going to see who flies faster.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But we're on our way up. I love it.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing about today. It's like, whoever it is that you have in your, whatever you have in your mind, whatever dream you have, you got to figure out how to part it out in pieces and make it scalable and growable and large, so that when you actually are in your business, that you have a complete business to do. And so right now, I think apps are really, really important. I like e-commerce as a business, and I also like writing books. So here's a few of the ones that I've written up there. And I think writing a book is the number one thing you can do as a collaboration, as a calling card, as a way to start building influence and authority. And once you get good at writing books, because I will tell you, my first book sucks compared to my last book that I just wrote.
Me
because
too.
You get better and better and better as you go, right? You just get better and better as you go. And that's kind of what you want. I mean, you know, it's this first step in how to make money and have fun. Writing is a great gateway to make money and have fun.
I hear that so often. It's funny because you and I were talking about the speaking world before we actually jumped on here, and both of us are moving into the speaking world, gone through the speaking world, have different experience in that world. And what I hear from a lot of people is there's a very stark difference between speakers who have never written a book and speakers who have written a book. And some people say you can't even become a speaker without writing a book.
Well, that was actually very true. I mean, I started off in, I'm going to give my age away, 19 as a speaker, and that was your bread and butter at the time. That was your bread and butter at the time. I mean, that's how you did it. You got on stage, and I've spoken everywhere, everywhere in this country and several other countries as well. But at that time, when you were on stage, you would sell from stage, right? So you'd get up there with your books and your products and your program. And usually back then, we didn't have online products. We had programs. You used to get those cassettes that are in there. See, now I'm giving my age away. And it would be $500 for the pack. You'd sell from the back of the room. That was just the way it was. So in one event or one gig, you could sell 100, 150 books, 200 books, 40 books. It just depended on the gig that you were doing. But then you would go from speaking here and here and here and here and here. And the best way, and I still think the best way to get a speaking gig, is to have a book, a relevant book, not just some book that is, I know a lot of people just, I wrote my book. But if you're an expert or an expertpreneur, and you're going out there and you want to be sought after, you want somebody to get you on their stage or on their program, something, you want to have something relevant and important to talk about for that time. Nice to see you, Karen. Thanks for being here. Vickie, don't you always work on books? Yes, I do, which is why I do it. It's a part of what you can do. And let me tell you, if you can write one book, you can write 2 books. If you can write 2 books, you can write 4 books. And you just get better and better. Now, I have a system for writing books. I have an outline that I use, that I practice. So I write nonfiction books. I've never written fiction, but I write nonfiction books. I have an outline pattern that I do. Once you have an outline and you know your way, you know your rhythm, you can knock out a book in, 20 to 30 days. It's not that big a deal.
Wow.
You know your subject, right? And my publisher she's really awesome. And every time I put out a book, she takes it right there, goes right into editing. And I want to tell you, if you have a book and you don't have an editor, you're going to look like an amateur, because every single person that puts out a book in that speaker gig has an editor. And no matter how lovely you think your words are, your words aren't lovely. They make them lovely. They make you sound good. I love what she does, the way she works. If you guys want to know, I want to give you a heads up for an editor. If you're a nonfiction writer, you want to go to thepublishingcircle.com, The Publishing Circle, free gift right there.com. And that is a place where you can put in your manuscript and see if it's accepted there. So thepublishingcircle.com. There it is. Thank you. And
I spelled it wrong.
Yeah, it's true. I see you. That's okay. We'll get it right this time. It'll be all up in there. Because I think having a publisher is extremely important. I know that you can self-publish. I know that you can. And if if you've already an influencer and you already have a big list and you're already like, .com secrets famous, then yeah, you sold 150,000, 200,000 books, and self-publishing makes sense because you already have your list of people and But if you're starting out and you're an unknown person and you're writing a book, if it's not done correctly or professionally, the way it looks, everyone knows the difference between that. You don't want to make your book look like an amateur. And I know this because I've done this, and I don't want you to make the same mistakes I've made. I always go with a publisher right now, and you may think, well, I don't want the rejection letter. You're not going to get the rejection letter if your book is done right and the topics are relevant and you have it. When you hand somebody the manuscript, at least have it drafted once. Thank you, Karen, for the Publishing Circle link. That Publishing Circle, that's my publisher right there. And you can tell her you saw her on the Make Money and Have Fun show. Just say, I saw Vickie on the Make Money and Have Fun show. And she said, do this, put your manuscript in, make it clean when it comes in, and, she'll talk with you. That's that publishing piece is so important.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I'm used to working with a lot of newer entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. And it's funny that you mentioned like the love of your own product. And I think that sometimes as entrepreneurs, we get our own glitter in our own eyes where we're like, oh my God, I just created the greatest product ever. And then you put it into the market and the market tells you otherwise.
That's right. That's right. It's so interesting with the Ultimate Freedom, which is one of my books, The Ultimate Freedom. That book had so many words. They cut 20,000. They cut 20,000 words out of the book. There it is, Ultimate Freedom. Thank you very much. And to condense it, so editors get in there and their job isn't to add to your work. Sometimes it's to diminish your work a little bit because the book you have redundancies or irrelevancies in there, and they're just whack it and make it better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I always tell the story with my first book. I actually found my first book on the shelf the other day. It's right here.
All right.
And I started reading it and I was like, oh God, this is horrible. Just like you said, because everything has changed for me since then. I mean, my philosophies have changed. My belief systems changed. When I wrote this first book, it was for two reasons, Vickie. Number one was to prove to myself that I could write a book, which I think a lot of people start in that space. And the second reason was I felt like I had something to say. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to choose the medium of writing it through a book to make that happen. And then my second book that came out was a little bit better. This is actually just a collection of blog posts that I wrote over about 4 years that I just slammed together in between a cover, a spine, and a back cover and called it a book at that point. But then this third book that's coming out it was really a different process. I brought in a ghostwriter, I brought in an editor, I brought in an actual publishing house, and, kind of assembled this team around me and saw more, behind the curtain of how the publishing world actually works. So there's definitely a lot of ways to do it.
Yeah, it's interesting. The publishing house that you're using is a publishing house that did The Ultimate Freedom. Yep. Top 10 publisher out of New York. That's really awesome. Congratulations. That's great. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's like one of the most important things we want to do is we want to continue taking the next step in professionalism. What does that look like? What does that sound like? What is that? What do the professionals do? How do they get good at what they're doing? It's okay. It's okay to say, I want to be a writer and write a book. Now you're published and you're a writer. That's great. Now I want to write great books. I want to write books that make a difference and make an impact in people's lives and help them do that. Then you start leveling up and it challenges you to go to the next level, which is why the next book is always the next level. But I want to remain very clear here with any new author. This is the biggest piece of advice I can give anyone or share with you. When you write a book, you can't go backwards. You have to be extraordinarily clear about what your truth is, what your message is, what you're trying to relate. Because once it is in paper, once it's here, you can't take it back. You can't go, you know what? I didn't really mean that in chapter 5. In fact, really what I mean is, it's like once it's here, it's out to the public. And they're going to ask you questions about what it is that you've done or what it is that you're talking. So you want to be very clear about what your message is. If it's something that can evolve over time and you're going to evolve over time, you may want to do the evolving as soon as that's why I do the book outline. Here's the topic. Here's what I want to talk about. And then I really go digging into each chapter 1. I want to talk about this. What do I want to say? Why do I want to say it? Why do I think it's relevant? You want to do that pushing yourself right there, because after 30 books, all you're going to do is improve. It's not like your writing stays the same. It's that it improves over time. You have to be clear about your message. Mm-hmm. And that's a big deal right there in the beginning.
Totally. I love 2 things that you said there. The first one you brought up is basically increasing your level of professionalism with not just what you do, but how you do it. You know, for me, when I wrote my first book at 21 years old, it was a really big deal. And then I started changing my friends. I started changing my associations. And all of a sudden, all of my friends had books. And I'm like, what? I thought I was like this hot shot or something going on there. And as I started to kind of walk down publishing lane, in a sense, I realized that there's a staircase is the way that I look at it to book writing. It's like, if you look at it in a certain way, you could say that like self-publishing is the first step on the staircase. Then you have a publishing house, then you have a bestseller campaign, then you have PR, then you have, speaking or whatever, kind of thing that you want to grow it into at that point. And then there's major bestsellers, there's Wall Street, USA Today, there's New York Times would be like the holy grail of all that kind of stuff. And so for me, it's always a game and a question of, how can I grow this? How can I make it bigger? How can I make it better? And how can I do more with it?
And that's so important what you just said, because one of the things you want to make sure of is if your book is evergreen. Now, listen, there are some books that are overnight sensations. There are. Most books grow over a period of time. Interesting. Once you've published a book, you can't take it back. You'll continue to evolve as a person, but your previous content and style published. Yes, that's right. They will. I mean, everybody is the success principles are still the success principles today for Jack Canfield. He can't go, oh, you know what? This success principle, or Stephen Covey. Could you imagine? Well, one of these is not the 7 habits. I'm going to change number 5. You can't do that. Yeah. So the thing I was saying that I think is really important for everybody to know is once you get to the point where you are designing your book and you have it out and you have it outlined, put it in front of someone who can push you, some mastermind. There are book coaches out there that are going to tell you once you write your book, this is going to happen. No, it's not. Books climb over a period of time. You want to make the topic evergreen. It's something that you continue to do. Like if the book comes out, maybe you sell 200 your first week, and then next week you sell 100 and you think your book is dropping. No, you do another launch, another thing, another marketing thing, and then you sell another. And then pretty soon by the end of the month, you've sold your first 1,000 copies of a book. And then the next month, you have to do the same thing. Your marketing strategy has to be the same thing. That's why your message is so important, because if you could talk about your message, like right now, we could talk about making money and having fun forever. It's a topic.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Of course you would.
I think you have some stuff to do, but I'd be okay with that. I'll cancel all my appointments. I love it.
We have to make money and have fun. But that's the whole point. What's his message? His message is make money and have fun. And I absolutely resonate with that message. And you can talk about that over and over and over and over and over again. So for me, for the Make Money and Have Fun show, I want you guys to see this book right here. It is the ultimate guide to cash flow secrets. If you want to make money and have fun, this book, you can find it on Amazon. Vickie Helm right here, the ultimate guide right there to cash flow secrets. And that book is really great because my dad made his money illegally, and he's passed away now. So I can tell you, he worked for the government as a CIA agent, and then he sold drugs at the other side of his career as a spy. He was a spy first then. And he taught me all of these cash flow secrets because when you make money illegally, you can't put it in the bank and you have to launder it somehow. And he would buy assets and things like that. And he taught me a lot of how to have cash flow secrets. So one of the things he shares in here, I share what he did, but I do it legally. Everything is legal. And it is how, I created a lot of my wealth today as well. And so, in those kinds of things, cash flow and making money and having fun, those are the things you want to go ahead and do and have thank you, by the way, Ultimate Sweat. Thank you for that, Karen. So in the feed below, you can find a few of my books. There's the She Myth and the Ultimate Freedom and Cash Flow Secrets. You can find the books there and click on them. And when you do, you'll be supporting a puppy somewhere that's running around the house. And which, that's the have fun part. You make money and you have fun. So the more of these that you have, here's what I want to say to you as a writer. This book right here, this is a buy button on Amazon. You have buy buttons. And guess what? This is a buy button. Every time you write a book, it's a buy button. It's an introduction to you. How many buy buttons do you want to have on Amazon? Relevant, good buy buttons. Do you want to have one or do you want to have 30? So when you have 30, what does that say about you? Do you want to have 1 or 3? You want to put as many buy buttons, relevant buy buttons out there as you can to introduce people to you. To me, books are one of the greatest buy buttons because they come in a series. You can buy the Kindle version, which is inexpensive, then the paperback or the hardback, or in my case, for the She Myth, the audio book is coming out now. You can do all of those things and give people a choice as to what do they want to buy. Do they want to buy it on ebook, or do they want to buy it in paperback, or do they want to buy the Audible? All of those are buy buttons. So for one book, you produce 3 buy buttons. You give people choices, but they're still buy buttons directly to you. Then I want to tell you, in each single book that I write, we have buy buttons that are in the book itself. Let me just show you. QR codes and links inside a book. It's another buy button. It's another way that people can have access to you, where you can give them something free or have them be involved with you. So Amazon's going to help promote you. You're going to help promote you, and you're going to have your books promote you. By the time you have that relevancy, then you also want to have, like, I noticed on right down here, I have Vickie Helm, but VickieHelm.com. You want to have your page there so they can find you, see you, know you, get to like you, and see what you're about. And when you have this, you understand that writing books, becoming an author, is a way that you scale out your business inexpensively. It's not like you're scaling out by hiring a ton of people. You're hiring a system. A book becomes a system for people to get to know you, like you, trust you, and know what you're about. And this is why it's so important for everyone to, and I'm holding my books up because I'm smart, but I have a co-author right here, Tracy Wilson. You can co-author with people. There are tons of things that you can do to promote your business and scale it out. Just simply by writing more than one book, making it relevant. You got to get good at it. It's got to be a task that you get good at. But then once you're good at it, once it's there, it's a way for you to scale out how to make money. It's a way for you to scale out how to have fun. There's nothing better than sitting in front of a room of people and talking about, your book and what you're about. It's really fun. And learn to speak, learn to be a speaker as well.
Exactly. I love this. This is so cool. I got to actually give a shout out to Karen real quick. So Karen wrote in the comments that she actually read The Revolutionary Mindset. And Karen, I think that makes you person number 6.
You go, Karen. Yeah. I want to let you know, Karen is my EP. She's our executive producer for all the shows we do, and she rocks. I love you, Karen.
Karen's awesome.
She rocks. Yeah.
She's gotten me all kinds of stuff with you.
She reads everything.
I always feel so famous when I reach out to people to come on the show and they say, "Oh, reach out to my assistant." I'm like, cool. I got a fun person. This is awesome. I I had John Shin did that a while back. He's like, yeah, I'd love to be on it. Reach out to my assistant. I'm like, okay, that's fun. Greg Reed did the same thing when he was on here, and you're doing the same thing. So, I
got to tell you, Karen keeps me on the road to you need to be on this show here. Now you're on this show here. At this time you're here. You got to do this. You're teaching class over here. Thank you very much. I mean,
she's the best.
She's not actually an assistant. She's actually the executive producer behind our network. And so she just makes sure all the shows run. Like, you have 5 shows with 5 different hosts on them, with 5 different guests on them, and you have to maneuver them around and the topics and the bios and everything else. She's got a whole department she runs back there.
I mean, I have one kind of 2 shows at this point, and I'm already going crazy.
Well, it's awesome what you're doing, because I want to say, if you have an opportunity to have a show like this, you do it so smart. You don't just go live on Facebook. You broadcast. You broadcast everywhere. You're on everything at once, and you've mastered how to get in front of your audience at a time where that's the number one thing I think experts need to do right now. They need to master how to get in front of their audience. And most people just go live, and that's just Facebook. Broadcasting is everything all at once. So and the show topic, I mean, you run a great show. It's really fun to be on your show.
Thanks so
and
much.
I think that if you're watching this show and you don't hit that subscribe button to his show, you're crazy. He has great people on. And I get to pop on every blue moon and watch your show right now. Don't forget to leave an honest review on the Apple Podcast.
Exactly.
I know, it's great. It's what you're doing.
I always ask people to leave an honest review. So I haven't gotten anything less than 5 stars yet, but
nice.
Just be honest with me. However many stars you feel this show deserves, head over there, let us know. And like Vickie said, comment, share this, and let everybody know about it, because we're over here having so much fun. So Vickie, we kind of already hit a lot of these topics. What I usually ask my guests is, I like talking to the aspiring author, the person who's in that space where they haven't written a book, but they want to write a book. What kind of advice would you give to that person?
Oh, God, that's so great. So I want to be really clear about the thing you're asking. And the asking is, they want to write a book and they don't know how to start, or they want to write a book and they're blocked by the overwhelm of it. Which part of that question is?
Your counter question to my question is a good question.
Well, then maybe we'll answer both.
Yeah,
I want to talk to the person who feels overwhelmed right now. If you get to the point where you're writing a book, you have to know the why you're writing a book. And I want to be really clear here. Book writing is being pitched as a cure-all by a bunch of gurus out there that say, write a book, it'll change your life. Here's your book, get your first book out, blah, blah, blah. When you write a book, you want to have certain things in place when you write a book. And so here's the thing. Right now, let's take, the Make Money and Have Fun show. Right now, the Make Money and Have Fun show is a brand. It's a brand. He's thought about his brand so much. It's part of his beingness, like in his heart. It's not make money has to be hard and arduous and not fun. For him, make money and have fun is a way of life. That's what his brand is about. So what did he do first? He's building his audience first. He's building his audience, and he's looking at having this show and this brand. He designed the brand, got it all out there. And your book needs an audience. Your book isn't going to build you an audience. You have to build your audience first, which means find people who are interested in making money and having fun. Who's not interested in making money and having fun? Everybody's interested in that. So once you have that thing, then you start doing these shows. You're building your subscribers. You're building your influence and authority. You're building your brand. Those things have to be built first. When you get your brand and group of people there, what's going to happen is when he releases his book, The Make Money and Have Fun, he's already got a bunch of people who are going to support him and say, yeah, I want a copy of your book. He's already got that. So the big 6 publishers, they love people that have a list of 100,000 people or more. And if you don't have that, it's going to be kind of hard to get that book there. You want to build your platform first. Your platform first. And that means you got to take your topic, really think about what your message is, and don't write a book because you want to make more money. Don't write a book because you think it's going to give you, look, I finally wrote a book. I'm somebody. No, you want to write a book because you want to make a difference in the world. You want to have an impact with your message. Your message has to be branded well. You don't want to do your own branding. You want to get somebody who's going to help you make a brand. So the second thing you have to know is, as an author or as a show host, you are also a brand. So right now, Fred is a brand, and the Make Money, this right here, this logo, the Make Money and Have Fun show, that is a brand as well. So you're a brand, and your show topic and your message is a brand. So take Oprah Winfrey, big name, and her brand, Live Your Best Life. Or right now it's Soul Conversations. But still, in that point, you have to know who you are as your message goes out. So is he ever going to stop talking about making money and having fun? No, that's his gig. And that's when your book becomes an ally with you. If you don't do this first, I didn't do it first. I'm telling you, I had a breech birth because, the internet didn't have the things it has now back when I started. So I had a breech birth. I'm trying to tell you how to make that quantum leap correctly. If you're going to start and you want to scale your business, you want to get to the point where your book is your brand and your business and the topic, they're all lined up. So the first thing is, I'd make my show. I'd build my influence and authority. And you guys can go to influenceandauthority.com, influenceandauthority.com, and just watch the webinar there. That'll help you get this. I really want you to get it off the ground correctly, because if you do this right, you can do what we did for my co-author. We wrote this book and we had her as on the bestseller list in the #1 position in 24 hours. And that's how you do it. You don't just pop in, thank you, in influenceandauthority.com. You want to set that up first. Make sure that you're there, because if you put a book out and you're just starting out and you have a really great topic and you put everything into this book, but you don't have your platform and you don't have your audience and you don't have your show built up and you don't have your influence and authority, you're going to drown in the sea of competition that happens when authors put books out. And so if you do it correctly, you can have that #1 book out in 24 to 48 hours if you make that platform correctly. And the thing is, once the platform is done, you just keep talking about that book and making awareness of your topic, and people will help you spread that awareness, and you just keep doing over and over and over for long term. So like The Ultimate Freedom, I wrote in 2017. It's still doing really well. This book over here, brand new, still doing really well. You can have all of these things happen for you. So if you want to be an author and you want to be able to scale it out as a business, your platform first. You are your brand. Do you have your JaneDoe.com? Do you have your VickieHelm.com? Do you have a place that houses where your business is? You can go study my page. Go look, pull it up. All my products, all my services, all my books are up there. Everything is up there about me. You need to have that, as well as you can go to the shemythbook.com and study that. Vickie Helm got the shemythbook.com and study how that is. This way, you are certain to make scalability in your brand. Am I making sense? Do you understand that? The She-Myth book. Thank you.
Absolutely. This is awesome. So it's cool because I asked this question to every author that I brought on this month, and everyone has given a different answer. And I think that this is kind of the step before the step, in a sense. Mm-hmm. It's funny because my next book coming out is obviously Make Money and Have Fun, like you were just talking about.
I'm excited about that book, by the way. I can't wait to.
It's so cool. It's easily
I can't
my
wait
best
to get
work. In the least biased way I can say it. It is easily my best work, and it's the full-fledged philosophy all in one place. So if you want to know everything there is to know about Make Money and Have Fun and what it really is, that's where it is. And the funny thing about it is this, Vickie, it's not really financial literacy. A lot of people think it is right away because the first two words are make money. Yeah. But it's really the bridge between both. It's helping people find that thing that they're fulfilled with. Because I'm a firm believer that the saying, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life is a false.
Yes, I do. I agree with that so much.
Right.
And it took me so long to figure that out. But if you have it at a young age, you will have such incredible quality of life.
Exactly. I changed it actually, that phrase to do what you love and you'll work every single day of your life, but it won't feel like work anymore.
That's right.
And that's really what it is it comes down to that feeling, right? People ask me all the time, how do I become fulfilled? And my answer is, as silly as it is you feel it.
Yeah.
And
that's
people,
it. Fulfillment is a
that.
feeling.
Yeah. People know that when they step into it. It's funny enough, as horrible as my first book is, I put a quote in this book that I kind of made up on my own. And it basically goes like this, that every person on the face of this planet is ceaselessly in search of one thing, a feeling. And that's and if we can find that feeling, that pinnacle thing, success is just a feeling. It's just the pinnacle, the penultimate feeling for us. And once we find that, we feel it at that point. And the funny thing is that having fun is something that we can, in a sense, turn on and off. You can have fun a lot quicker than you can make money in most scenarios, right? But when we bridge that gap between both, it doesn't matter anymore. I tell people all the time, like this show is not my money making arm to what I'm doing, right? That's the mastermind that I lead, right? That's where the income comes in, where the make money half of Make Money and Have Fun actually comes in. But this show is just so much dang fun. I love having people on here like yourself, like Les Brown, like all the really cool, fun, amazing guests that I have on here every week. And I'm like, this is my way of sharing my message and my voice. Because what happened for me, Vickie, was the day after I wrote this first book, I you probably relate to this. I was like, that's it. I'm never writing another book again. Because it was such an arduous, tedious, long process.
Your first book is always the hardest and the worst project.
Yep. And the next day I woke up and the only thing I wanted to do that day was write.
Yep. I remember that happening. Yes.
Right.
It's so interesting that you're saying this.
And so I found blogging right afterwards. I'm like, oh man, I can blog. I can get my message out in 15 to 20 minutes. I can share it right away and it can be out there with the world. And then after 4 years of doing that, I stuck it all together in my next book, which is the Thought Bible. And then I kind of, started investing, had different philosophies come through. And now, Make Money and Have Fun is like the best of all the previous books. The best. It's basically like the best of Fred Buscemo. If anybody's interested.
Those are so cool. And I want to let you know, there's also another way of repurposing your shows when you do shows and you set your platform up. Every guest that you have on, I mean, what we do is compile them into a book. And I have the Coffee Break Show, which the Coffee Break Show. I have all the guests on. We should pull you on. We'll have Karen do that. You're going to be on very shortly.
Next week, 2 weeks, something like that.
But it's going to be fun. So we pop these things up and we put a cover with all the guests, and then the show, is their topic, what they talked about. And, once you've done 500 shows, you can lump, here's a business book, here's a relationship book, here's a health book, because you have all these health experts on your show and you can make them happen. There's so many ways that you can utilize that thing. But it's so interesting that you were talking about when you put that first book down and you're like, oh, I finally did it. Okay, it's done.
Never doing that again.
Yeah. And then you're like, suddenly your creativity showed up. And it's something that when you write a book, you force out of you in the beginning. But then creativity just happens. And now I can be at a dinner table and listening to people talk, and I will text myself something someone said because it would make such a great book title.
Right.
And that you don't want to lose that creativity as it starts flowing. You start protecting your creativity as it comes up versus thinking, oh, I finally got it done,
Exactly. It's almost like when was it Bannister ran the first person to run the 4-minute mile? Roger Bannister, I think it was.
Something like that.
Yeah. Once he did that, it was like within the next year, another 20, 25 people also ran a 4-minute mile.
Yeah. I think he only held the record for like 45, 46 days before somebody else broke it then. So, and it was immediate. It was suddenly out there.
It's like,
so let me ask you,
let me
ask you, when you first started to write the book, when you first started writing your book, because honestly, I think you were pretty young to write your first book. What were you, 21? 21 when you wrote your first book. He didn't go drink. He went home and wrote a book on his birthday.
I had a drink after the book was finished.
Well, and you know what was interesting? You said something earlier. You said, I wanted to prove to myself that I could write a book.
Yep.
And so why did you want to, what did you think was so, what was the thing that you had to prove to yourself? Like you could do it, it could be done because it was going to be hard or?
Yeah. So you talked earlier about there's a difference between not knowing what to do and actually blocking yourself from doing it, in the author's perspective. And I believe that mindset is what gets in the way of everybody. So for me, my way of thinking as a 19, 20-year-old kid was to write a book, you have to be a writer. That was the simple limiting belief that I had in my head. I got to be James Patterson if I want to write a book. I have to be Stephen King if I want to write a book. And what happened was the catalyst moment, if you will. I was a martial arts instructor at the time, and I went to a jiu-jitsu seminar. And after the seminar is over, phenomenal seminar, by the way, after it's over, the instructor goes up to the front of the room and he closes out the class and he goes, "Oh, by the way, I wrote these 2 books. If you want a copy, they're $10 each." And my jaw hit the floor. I'm like, "What? Hey, you did." And then I got competitive. I'm like, wait. You aren't going to be the only person here who writes a book. If you can write a book, I can write a book. And that was like the thing that flipped the switch in my head and said, wait a minute, there's a way to actually make this happen without needing to, study literature in college and get an English degree and all that kind of stuff and, be a novelist, if you will. So that kind of debunked that limiting belief in my head in that one quick moment. And then I just asked him, I'm like, hey, how did you make a book? And back then it was actually CreateSpace, which you probably remember before it became KDP. And he's like, oh, there's this company that Amazon owns called CreateSpace, and just go on there and make the thing. And it took me probably a year and a half or so to actually write the book. Because my first book, it was Microsoft Word all day long. And it was just, typing away every single night. And
then they're done that.
Yeah. And I am a slow writer. And
I want to say it's a lot easier to do it on Google Docs voice type now. Where you just talk the book in, and that's great.
I'm with you 100% on that. I had Felicia Slattery on here about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, she's the best. And she said there's no such thing as speaker's block, but there is writer's block. So if you speak it, it's that much easier. And I'm like, that makes so much sense, especially for someone like me. I never shut up. Ask my girlfriend.
Yeah, I've been accused of that as well. One of the cool things about writing a book is right now this is so important for people to understand. If you get nothing today, you have to understand that there is a difference between writing a book to build your business and writing nonfiction and writing a book to have a breakthrough. They sell right now you writing a book as having a breakthrough. It's like, get that breakthrough, get your book out there, get this out there. This is, push past that breakthrough. You want to be very aware of how to use the tool of writing to go ahead and take the platform that you've already built to the next level versus trying to make the book build you a platform. It's got to be the other way around. That's the number one thing I think people do. It's like when you write a book, it's not about you having a breakthrough. It's about you going to the next level in your career because the book and the platform are built. The platform is built. You have a bit of an audience and you don't even need a big audience. You can start with a small audience. If you have 500 to 1,000 people already in your audience, you need to go ahead and put that book out to push it to the next level so you can have 1,500 to 2,000 people in your audience. And you keep talking about it and it grows over a period of time. And That to me is so important when you're looking at it and you're thinking, whew, I finally want to have this breakthrough and I want to get that book out of me. That only works if you are a fiction writer. If you're a fiction writer, fine. If you're a nonfiction writer, the book is a system. It is a division of your business. It is your calling card. It is the way that your message gets out. It is your influence and authority builder. And you have to have the platform first. Build the platform first, write the book second. I will tell you it seems counterintuitive when you hear it, doesn't it? Seems counterintuitive, but it is the best way to get your book to the bestseller list first. So platform first, brand, get all that done. And then boom, go to the next level.
Exactly.
That's really, and if you need help writing a book, that's fine. You can do that, but make sure you get the help getting your platform first. And if you want a platform first, go to influenceandauthority.com, influenceandauthority.com. That's where you want to get your platform first. Get your brand, get that right first. And it's exactly what Fred did. It's why he's succeeding. It's why he's popular. It's why people want to be on his show. And you can see that he's done it professionally. He's got his background. This is just my office right here behind me. This guy here, he's got it all done professionally. He's done it right the first time.
I thought it was the red jacket that people were attracted to.
I really like the red and black. And my smart group firm, my consulting firm, is red and black and white, just like yours is. I really like it. It's snazzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, it's grown since it started, and it's just been, as soon as the first episode of this show, I knew I had something. I was like, crap, I got to keep going, don't I?
You do. It's got teeth. It's what I call having teeth. It'll latch on and be very good. And you're a great host and, entertaining and, you're a great speaker and everything else. So it's actually fun to be on your show. I mean, I've been on shows where they just barely listen to you. And I've had people ask me questions on shows and then look away like this to get the interview and then, and then come back and then ask me another question and look off this way. And like, am I there with you or not? And I think you're doing a great job. You are so with somebody. You're the have fun part of the make money.
Somebody's got to be. I always tell my girlfriend she's the have fun half, but I don't know how true that is. I love it.
Later, she's going to smack you around. Don't say that.
She already smacks me around, so I must be in a relationship,
right?
Good
woman. Yeah. That's great what you're doing.
This has been so much fun doing this with you. I can't wait to be on your show in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you're going to be on my show. That's right. I know.
Look at us. We're like best friends now.
See, we're going to have a great time.
It's so interesting. When I started this show, I was initially thinking about bringing people like live in a studio. And then I'm like, wait a minute, what am I nuts? Like, am I going to pay for people's plane ticket to come here? Most of my friends live in California. Like, and so, but as soon as I started doing it, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm sitting in the living room with these people, just having a chat, right? Just like doing our thing. And I didn't realize how close to reality virtual is becoming, which is kind of scary to say, but I think it makes sense. It's an interesting.
We have that. Yeah, so my business partner lives in Australia.
Oh, there you go. That's a hike.
It's just there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of phone calls. I bet.
Thank God for the internet.
Of course.
Well, thank you for having me here today. I definitely, I'm 10 minutes before my show goes live.
There you go.
And, the coffee break show is on, I got to go do that today as well.
What do you want to leave our guests with today? Words of wisdom, encouragement, whatever it might be. What do you want to say to our guests in closing today?
You have to eventually trust yourself. Trust what you're feeling in here. Don't let your mind come on and go, but, no, not good enough. You have to trust what's here. And if you have writer's block, just sit at the writing table and write the first word that pops in your mind. Trust it. Just type the, and then the next word day, and then the next word that. You don't have to know the whole sentence. Just trust the words, the day that, you start, writing, I will appear. Your creativity is there. It will come and be with you. Trust yourself.
I love that. Vickie, this has been so much fun. I love that you're here. I'm so excited to have you. For those of you that are listening, don't forget to like, comment, share, and of course, leave an honest review for us. Whatever you think honest is for this show over on Apple Podcasts. Let us know that we're doing an awesome job. And as always, let's continue to make money and have some fun. See you, Vickie.
Hey, see you. Thank you.